Keep in mind, the figures presented here are approximations meant to give you a sense of the cost of living. Always verify with up-to-date sources before making any decisions. Number 10. Da Nang and Hoi An, Vietnam. Vietnam's central coast sits roughly halfway between Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, and these two cities offer very different flavors of the same remarkable affordability. Da Nang is a modern, fast-growing coastal city with wide beaches, solid infrastructure, and a growing expat presence. Hoi An, just 30 kilometers south, is a UNESCO-listed ancient town with lantern-lit streets, tailors on every corner, and one of the most photogenic old quarters in Southeast Asia. The cost of living here is genuinely one of the lowest in Asia for the quality on offer. A comfortable lifestyle, covering rent, food, transport, and utilities, comes in at around $900 a month all in. A one-bedroom apartment in the city center typically rents for somewhere between $400 and $700 per month, and local street food keeps daily dining costs remarkably low. On the downside, Vietnam has no formal retirement visa pathway. Retirees must piece together their legal residency from tourist visas, border runs, or business and investor arrangements. It requires patience and some creative paperwork. On top of that, foreigners cannot own land outright. Property is available on a 50-year leasehold basis, which limits how you think about long-term investment here. Number 9. Marrakech and Essaouira, Morocco. Morocco often gets overlooked in retirement conversations, yet it sits just 3 hours by air from most Western European capitals, and a short transatlantic hop from the US East Coast. Marrakech offers year-round warmth, a dense cultural scene, and an extraordinary medina that most Western retirees find endlessly absorbing. Essaouira, the wind-swept Atlantic port city a few hours west, runs cooler, quieter, and considerably more relaxed. Monthly costs sit at roughly $1,000 all in for a comfortable lifestyle. Rent for a one-bedroom apartment in the city center falls somewhere around $500 to $750 per month, and food costs outside the tourist-facing restaurants are genuinely low. For residency, Morocco offers the carte de séjour, an initial 1-year permit that becomes a 10-year renewable card. Requirements include proof of income and a clean criminal record, and the process, while not instant, is well established. That said, French or Arabic is essentially required for daily life outside the tourist core. Summer heat in Marrakech is no small thing, with temperatures pushing past 45 degrees Celsius in July and August. Essaouira stays cooler, but infrastructure across the country remains uneven in places. Number 8. Bali, Indonesia. Bali has been on the expat radar for years, but it still qualifies as overlooked in the retirement context specifically. Most of the conversation around Bali focuses on digital nomads in Canggu, yet the quieter, more village-paced neighborhoods of Ubud and the calmer beaches of Sanur offer a lifestyle that suits long-term retirees considerably better. Monthly costs in Bali land at around $1,200 to $1,300 for a comfortable life, though the range runs from $900 on the lower end to $1,700 if you're living well. Rent for a one-bedroom varies considerably by area and style, ranging from $500 to $1,200 per month. Indonesia now offers a second home visa valid for 10 years, which requires a deposit of roughly IDR 2 billion, approximately $130,000. For those aged 55 and over, the retirement kitas is an alternative, requiring a demonstrated pension income of around $1,500 per month. The downside to flag here is property ownership. Foreigners cannot hold freehold title to land in Indonesia. Leasehold arrangements, typically 25 to 30 years, are the standard route. South Bali traffic, particularly around Canggu and Kotor, is genuinely severe. And periodic volcanic activity from Mount Agung has disrupted flights on more than one occasion. Number 7. Granada, Andalusia, Spain. Granada rarely leads the conversation when people think of retiring in Spain. That tends to go to Valencia, Malaga, or Alicante. But Granada, sitting at the foot of the Sierra Nevada in southern Andalusia, offers something those cities increasingly cannot: genuinely low cost of living within a full EU member state. Monthly costs in Granada run around $1,200 to $1,400 all in for a comfortable lifestyle, with the range spanning $1,100 to $1,700. A one-bedroom apartment in the center rents for roughly $600 to $950. Entry-level property purchase starts at around $90,000 and tops out near $180,000 for solid options in the city. Granada's tapas culture is more than a charming detail. Bars in the city still serve free tapas with every drink, which, over the course of a week, noticeably reduces the food budget. The Alhambra Palace complex, ski resorts an hour away, and a large university population all contribute to a lively, textured daily life. Residency for non-EU nationals typically runs through Spain's non-lucrative visa. It requires proof of sufficient passive income and is renewable annually. On the downside, Spanish bureaucracy is notoriously slow, and Granada's international airport connections are limited compared to Malaga or Madrid. Budget time and patience for administrative processes. Number 6. Kotor and Budva, Montenegro. Montenegro is one of those small Adriatic countries that savvy European expats have been quietly noting for several years now. The Bay of Kotor, with its fjord-like inlets and medieval walled city, is genuinely striking, and the wider coastline around Budva offers a more resort-oriented alternative for those who want a livelier social scene. Monthly costs sit at around $1,100 to $1,200 all in, with the range spanning $900 to $1,400. A one-bedroom apartment in the center rents for somewhere between $500 and $900. Entry-level property starts at around $120,000. Montenegro uses the euro despite not yet being an EU member, which simplifies finances considerably for European retirees. The country is an official EU candidate, with membership projected by around 2028, which could significantly affect both residency rights and property values. Temporary residence is available through property ownership or company formation, renewable annually. The honest caveats here are worth noting. Healthcare infrastructure is limited by Western standards, so supplemental international health insurance is essentially non-negotiable. And summer in the Bay of Kotor brings a pronounced tourism crush that pushes prices up steeply and transforms otherwise quiet towns into crowded corridors. Number 5. West Virginia, United States. West Virginia does not appear on most retirement lists, and that is precisely what makes it worth discussing. For American retirees who want to dramatically lower their cost of living without leaving the country, this state consistently ranks as one of the most financially efficient places to retire in the entire nation. Monthly costs run roughly $1,800 to $2,000 all in for a comfortable lifestyle, with the range spanning $1,600 to $2,400. A one-bedroom apartment in the center of larger towns rents for around $800 to $1,200. Entry-level home purchase prices range from $130,000 to $200,000, and farmland runs roughly $2,800 to $3,600 per acre, making it among the most affordable in the Appalachian region. On the tax side, West Virginia is phasing down its income tax, with the current top rate sitting near 4.8%. Social Security income is fully exempt from state tax, and property taxes are among the lowest in the country. For retirees living on fixed income, that combination matters. The Appalachian scenery is genuinely beautiful, and the low population density appeals to those looking for quieter surroundings. Furthermore, the lower home prices allow retirees to own outright or carry minimal debt. On the downside, population decline is real in many rural counties, and urban amenities are limited outside of Morgantown and Charleston. The opioid crisis has left visible marks in certain pockets of the state. Winter ice events can also make rural living genuinely difficult for several months of the year. Number 4. Florida, United States. Florida remains the default American retirement destination for good reason. No state income tax, warm year-round weather, and one of the most established retiree infrastructure networks in the country make it structurally hard to argue against. But it earns a spot at number 4 rather than higher because of what it costs to actually live there in 2026. Monthly costs in Florida run from roughly $2,500 to $2,800 all in for a comfortable lifestyle, with a range spanning $2,200 to $3,300. A one-bedroom apartment in the center of major metros rents for around $1,300 to $1,900. Entry-level property now starts at $290,000 and can reach $420,000 or more in popular coastal markets. The tax structure remains genuinely attractive. No state income tax, no state estate tax, and the homestead exemption Save Our Homes provision caps annual property tax increases for primary residents, which protects long-term owners from runaway reassessments. That said, home insurance premiums have risen sharply and continue to climb, driven by hurricane exposure and insurer withdrawals from the market. Summer humidity and heat are persistent, and the price gap between Florida and cheaper domestic alternatives has narrowed considerably in recent years. It is not the bargain it was a decade ago. Number 3. Kentucky, United States. Kentucky sits in the geographic heart of the country and consistently delivers a cost of living well below the national average. It is, frankly, underrated in retirement circles, where states like Tennessee and the Carolinas tend to dominate the domestic conversation. Monthly costs in Kentucky run around $2,000 to $2,100 all in, with a range spanning $1,700 to $2,500. A one-bedroom apartment rents for roughly $900 to $1,300. Entry-level property falls between $190,000 and $280,000, and farmland is priced at approximately $4,200 to $5,800 per acre, reflecting the productivity of the bluegrass region. The tax picture is solid. Kentucky has a flat 4% income tax rate, which is set to drop further. The first $31,000 of retirement income is exempt from state tax, and property taxes remain modest. Additionally, college towns like Lexington and Bowling Green offer walkable amenities, strong healthcare networks, and consistent cultural programming at lower cost than comparable metros elsewhere. The downside is real, though. Rural decline in eastern Kentucky counties is pronounced, broadband coverage in those same areas is uneven, and humid continental summers can be genuinely uncomfortable. For retirees needing consistent coastal access, Kentucky's central location is both its strength and its limitation. Number 2. Cluj-Napoca, Romania. Cluj-Napoca is one of Eastern Europe's most quietly compelling cities for retirees and remote workers alike, and it remains significantly underpriced relative to its quality of life. The city is Romania's unofficial second capital, a major university hub, and the center of the country's booming tech sector, which means English proficiency is widespread and infrastructure is considerably more modern than the country's broader reputation suggests. Monthly costs sit at around $1,000 to $1,100 all in, with the range spanning $800 to $1,300. A one-bedroom apartment in the center rents for roughly $450 to $750. Entry-level property purchase starts at around $80,000 and tops out near $160,000 for good quality apartments in the city. Romania is a full EU member, which carries significant practical weight for European citizens and provides a stable legal framework for long-term residents. The country operates a flat 10% income tax rate, one of the lowest in the EU. For those earning foreign income, Romania offers a digital nomad visa requiring approximately €3,950 per month in foreign earnings, alongside a long-stay visa pathway for retirees. Moreover, the food scene in Cluj is strong, costs in local markets are remarkably low, and the Transylvanian countryside surrounding the city is genuinely beautiful. The downsides are worth being honest about. Romanian bureaucracy is heavy and slow. Winters are harsh, with cold temperatures and significant snowfall between December and March. Those coming from warmer climates should factor that into their planning. Number 1. Missouri, United States. Missouri is the kind of state that rarely comes up in retirement planning conversations, yet when you lay its numbers alongside states that command far more attention, the case becomes difficult to dismiss. It offers some of the lowest all-in retirement costs in the country, a genuinely varied natural landscape, and a tax structure that is noticeably friendly to retirees living on fixed income. Monthly costs run around $2,000 to $2,100 all in for a comfortable lifestyle, with the range spanning $1,700 to $2,500. A one-bedroom apartment rents for roughly $850 to $1,200 per month. Entry-level property purchase falls between $180,000 and $260,000, and farmland in Missouri is priced at around $3,500 to $4,500 per acre, among the most accessible in the Midwest for those considering rural land ownership. The tax structure is genuinely competitive. The top state income tax rate sits at 4.7%, Social Security income is exempt from state tax for most retirees, and property taxes across the state remain modest. When those three factors combine, the effective tax burden on a typical retirement income in Missouri is considerably lower than in most comparable states. The Ozark Plateau and its network of lakes, including Lake of the Ozarks and Bull Shoals, provide a retirement landscape that rivals more celebrated options at a fraction of the price. Branson, the entertainment and tourism town in the southwest of the state, has a long-established retiree corridor with services, healthcare, and community infrastructure built around that demographic. Kansas City and St. Louis anchor the state on both ends, offering genuine urban amenity for those who want it. On the downside, Missouri summers are humid and hot, winter ice storms are a recurring feature rather than a rare event, and rural healthcare in the Boot Heel region of the southeast is genuinely limited. Tornado risk is also real and should factor into decisions around home construction and insurance. But taken as a whole, Missouri in 2026 represents one of the most undervalued domestic retirement propositions in the United States. The numbers work, the scenery holds up, and the cost of entry remains accessible. And there you have it. 10 of the most overlooked destinations for retirement in 2026, ranging from Vietnam's Central Coast to the Ozarks of Middle America. Whether you are drawn to the low thousands a month in Southeast Asia or the senior-friendly tax structure of the American heartland, the common thread across all of these is value that most retirement guides simply overlook. If you found this useful, consider subscribing. We cover destinations like this every week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.